The security camera notification pinged on Marcus Wellington's phone at 2:47 p.m., but he was in the middle of closing a multi-million-dollar deal and silenced it without looking. He'd installed the cameras throughout his mansion 6 months ago, right after proposing to Victoria, wanting to ensure his 7-year-old daughter Emma's safety while he worked long hours at his investment firm. He never imagined those cameras would reveal a truth that would bring him to his knees. Marcus had built his fortune from nothing. The son of a single mother who cleaned office buildings at night, he'd worked 3 jobs to put himself through business school, sleeping 4 hours a night and surviving on instant ramen. By 35, he owned one of the most successful venture capital firms in the city, living in a sprawling estate with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. But none of it meant anything compared to Emma, the little girl with her mother's eyes who'd been his entire world since his wife Sarah died 3 years ago from cancer. Meeting Victoria had felt like emerging from a long, dark tunnel into sunlight. She was elegant, charming, and seemed to genuinely care for Emma. At least, that's what Marcus believed as he watched her read bedtime stories to his daughter, braid her hair before school, and attend every parent-teacher conference by his side. Emma had seemed quieter lately, more withdrawn, but the grief counselor assured him this was normal for a child processing the loss of her mother. Children retreated sometimes. They needed space. He'd believed that, wanted to believe it, because it meant he could also believe that Victoria was the answer to their prayers for a complete family again. That evening, Marcus came home early, something he rarely did. The Tokyo investors had rescheduled, giving him an unexpected free afternoon. He pulled into the circular driveway, noting Victoria's car parked near the fountain. The house was quiet as he entered, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the marble. No sound of Emma's laughter, no television playing her favorite cartoons. "Victoria," he called out, loosening his tie. Silence answered him. He climbed the curved staircase, passing family portraits that now felt like they were watching him with knowing, sad eyes. Emma's room was empty, her stuffed rabbit lying abandoned on the bed. A cold finger of unease traced down his spine. He checked the playroom, the library, even the kitchen where their housekeeper Maria usually prepared dinner. Empty. Then he heard it, a faint sound, barely audible, coming from the far end of the hallway. The old storage room that they never used, the one without windows that still had the previous owner's heavy oak door. He approached slowly, and the sound became clearer. Sobbing. A child's broken, terrified sobbing. Marcus's heart stopped. He grabbed the doorknob and found it locked. "Emma," his voice cracked. "Emma, baby, are you in there?" The sobbing intensified. "Daddy." Her voice was raw, hoarse, as if she'd been crying for hours. "Daddy, please, I'm sorry, I'll be good, please let me out." His hands shook as he fumbled for the key ring he kept in his pocket, the one with the master keys Maria had given him months ago. The lock clicked and he wrenched the door open. The room was pitch black, musty, filled with old furniture covered in sheets that looked like ghosts in the darkness. And there, huddled in the corner on the cold hardwood floor, was his daughter. Her face was streaked with tears, her eyes wide and red, her small body trembling. "Emma," he rushed to her, scooping her into his arms. She was ice cold, her little dress damp with sweat despite the chill. She clung to him with a desperation that shattered something fundamental in his chest. "How long have you been in here? What happened?" She buried her face in his shoulder, her words muffled and broken. "I spilled juice on her dress. I didn't mean to, Daddy. I said sorry, but she said I was clumsy and stupid and I needed to learn. She said the dark would teach me to be careful." Marcus's blood turned to ice. "She locked you in here." Emma nodded against him, her small body racked with shivers. "She always does, Daddy. When you're at work, when I'm bad, sometimes for hours. Sometimes I wet myself because I can't hold it and then she says I'm disgusting and makes me clean it up and locks me in again." The world tilted. Marcus held his daughter tighter, his mind refusing to process what she was saying even as his heart broke into pieces. "Always. This has happened before, lots of times," Emma whispered. "She said if I told you, she'd lock me in forever. She said you'd believe her because she's going to be my new mommy and you love her more than me. She said my real mommy left because I was bad and that's why she got sick." Marcus couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The woman he'd planned to marry, the woman he'd welcomed into his home, into his daughter's life, had been torturing his child. His innocent, sweet, already traumatized little girl who'd lost her mother and just wanted to be loved. He carried Emma out of that horrible room, down the hallway to her own bedroom with its pink walls and stuffed animals and nightlight shaped like a star. He wrapped her in her softest blanket, held her in the rocking chair they'd used when she was a baby, and let her cry against him while rage and guilt warred in his chest. "Where is Victoria now?" he asked quietly, though his voice shook with barely contained fury. "She went out. She always goes out after. To the spa or shopping. She says I better have my story straight by the time she gets back." Marcus kissed the top of Emma's head, breathing in her strawberry shampoo, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. I should have seen. I should have known. I tried to tell you," Emma said in a small voice. "Remember when I said I didn't want to stay home with her? You said I was being difficult because you were getting married. You said I needed to give her a chance." The memory hit him like a physical blow. 6 weeks ago, Emma had cried and begged to come to the office with him instead of staying home during summer break. He'd been frustrated, stressed about a failing acquisition, and he'd dismissed her fears as jealousy. He'd told her she was being unfair to Victoria, that she needed to accept that they were going to be a family. He'd failed her, failed the one person who mattered most. "You're right," he said, forcing himself to meet her eyes. "I didn't listen. I was wrong. But I'm listening now, Emma. I'm listening, and I believe you, and this is never, ever going to happen again. I promise you." He carried her downstairs to Maria, who took one look at Emma's face and crossed herself, murmuring in Spanish. Marcus explained everything in clipped, controlled sentences while Maria's eyes filled with tears. She held Emma close while Marcus went to his study and pulled up the security camera footage on his computer. His hands shook as he scrolled back through the recordings. There were cameras in most of the common areas, but he'd never thought to put one in that storage room because they never used it. But the hallway camera caught enough. There was Victoria, in a designer dress and heels, dragging a crying Emma down the corridor. There she was again, different day, different outfit, shoving his daughter into that room and locking the door while Emma's small fists pounded against it. Again and again, over weeks, the footage showed the same horrifying pattern. The earliest incident was from 2 months ago. Marcus watched himself in other clips, coming home from work, smiling at Victoria, kissing her hello while somewhere in the house his daughter was locked in darkness. He watched himself leave for business trips while Victoria waved goodbye with a perfect smile. He saw himself being blind, being stupid, being the worst father in the world. He was on his 4th viewing of the footage, creating backup copies and forwarding them to his lawyer, when he heard Victoria's car in the driveway. He walked to the foyer and waited, his hands clenched at his sides. She swept in carrying shopping bags, her blonde hair perfect, her smile bright. "Marcus, you're home early. I didn't expect." She stopped, reading something in his face. "What's wrong? Where's Emma?" He kept his voice even, though everything in him wanted to scream. "In her room, I think. She was playing earlier." Victoria set down her bags, tilting her head with practiced concern. "Marcus, you look upset. Did something happen with work?" "I found her," he said quietly. "Locked in the storage room. In the dark. Terrified. She told me everything, Victoria. Everything." For just a second, her mask slipped. He saw calculation in her eyes, a quick assessment. Then the performance began. Her eyes widened, her hand flew to her mouth. "What? No, Marcus, I don't know what she told you, but you have to understand, she's been acting out. Making up stories. I think she resents me because of her mother. Children do this, I have it on video," he interrupted, his voice like ice. "Multiple incidents. Weeks of abuse. I've already sent the footage to my lawyer and to the police. They're on their way." The mask shattered completely. Victoria's face twisted with rage. "You're going to ruin everything over that whining brat. Do you know how many women would kill to be in my position? I've put up with her for months, playing mommy to your damaged little girl. She's manipulative, Marcus. She cries if I so much as look at her wrong. I was trying to toughen her up, teach her some discipline. That's what children need, not coddling. She's 7 years old, Marcus said, and his voice broke. She lost her mother. She's a baby. And you tortured her. I loved you. Victoria spat, and now he could see the real person beneath the facade. I could have made you happy. We could have sent her to boarding school, had our own children. Perfect children. But no, you're obsessed with that needy little. Get out. Marcus stepped toward her, and something in his face made her retreat. Get out of my house right now, before I do something I regret. The police are coming, and you're going to face charges. But right now, get out. She grabbed her purse, her face ugly with rage. You'll regret this. My father is a judge. You have no idea who you're messing with. Your father the judge will be very interested in the video evidence of you abusing a child, Marcus said coldly. Get out. She left, her heels clicking violently against the marble. Marcus stood in the empty foyer, surrounded by luxury that meant nothing, and finally let himself break. He sank to the floor and put his head in his hands and sobbed for his failure, for Emma's fear, for the time he could never get back. The police came. They took statements, copies of the footage, Emma's testimony given with a gentle female officer while Marcus held her hand. A detective told him charges would be filed for child endangerment and abuse. A child psychologist was called, starting the long process of helping Emma heal. That night, after everything was done and the house was finally quiet, Marcus sat on the edge of Emma's bed while she clutched her rabbit. I'm not going back to work. The same way, he told her. I'm going to be here, really here. No more 12-hour days. No more putting business first. You're my priority, Emma. You always should have been. You won't get married, she asked in a small voice. Not for a very long time, he assured her. And never, ever to anyone who doesn't treat you with the love and respect you deserve. Emma, I need you to understand something. What happened wasn't your fault. Not any of it. You weren't bad. You didn't deserve to be punished. You're a beautiful, wonderful, precious little girl and I love you more than anything in this world. Her eyes filled with tears. I thought you forgot about me. That you loved her more. Never, he said fiercely, pulling her close. Not possible. You're my daughter. You're my heart. I was blind and stupid and I failed you, but I swear to you, Emma, I will never stop fighting to make this right. We're going to get you help. We're going to work through this together. And I'm going to spend every day proving to you that you can trust me again. The recovery was slow. Emma had nightmares for months, afraid of the dark, afraid of closed doors. Marcus converted the storage room into a bright playroom with windows and plants and left the door permanently open. He hired a trauma specialist who worked with Emma twice a week. He cut his work hours in half, promoted a trusted colleague to COO, and started being home for dinner every night. He read bedtime stories, went to her soccer games, learned to braid hair from YouTube videos, and slowly, painfully, rebuilt the trust he'd shattered. Victoria faced charges. Despite her father's influence, the video evidence was damning. She accepted a plea deal that included mandatory counseling and community service, and a restraining order kept her far from Emma. Marcus didn't care about revenge. He only cared about his daughter's healing. 6 months later, Emma laughed spontaneously for the first time since that terrible day. They were making pancakes together on a Saturday morning, and Marcus accidentally flipped one onto his head. Her giggle was like music, like sunlight breaking through clouds, and he froze with batter in his hair just to hear it continue. Daddy, you're so silly, she said, and the trust in her eyes, fragile but growing, was worth more than every dollar in his bank account. A year after that day, Emma asked if she could have her 7th birthday party at home. She'd been too scared before, associating the house with darkness and fear. But now she wanted to invite friends, to have cake in the garden, to reclaim her space. Marcus threw her the biggest, brightest party their neighborhood had ever seen, and when she blew out her candles surrounded by laughter and love, he knew they were going to be okay. He'd learned the hardest lesson a parent can learn, that success means nothing if you're failing the people who depend on you most. That love isn't just a feeling but a choice, made daily, moment by moment. That listening matters more than providing. That presence is the greatest gift you can give. Marcus had thought he could have it all, balance everything, keep all the plates spinning. But he'd learned that some things can't be balanced. Some things demand everything. And Emma, his beautiful, resilient daughter who'd survived trauma and betrayal and still found it in her heart to trust him again, deserved everything. The mansion still had marble floors and crystal chandeliers. But now it also had finger paintings on the fridge, soccer cleats by the door, and laughter echoing through rooms that had once held secrets and pain. Marcus had been a millionaire who almost lost his greatest treasure. Now he was just a father, present and imperfect and trying every day to be worthy of the second chance his daughter had given him. That was the only success that mattered.